So, welcome back. And we have got the lovely Jonathan Robinson here, all the way from the United States, who is a board certified hypnosis therapist. Would it be, Jonathan? And past lives regression practitioner as well. I was lucky enough to have a session last week, which was incredible, which we'll delve in further down in the podcast. But welcome, Jonathan. Obviously, you've met Nick for the first time today, and
I'm so excited for this.
so we're excited. So please do tell our listeners a little bit more about your background, your journey here at the moment, because we're all so intrigued. It's really something that's so fascinating. And I come away from it just like, wow, what have I just experienced?
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And our session last week I'm thrilled to talk about that with you today. So, I do past life regression hypnotherapy, and that's guiding people in hypnotherapy, regression to childhood is very common to alleviate trauma and make improvements. And with the right questions, we can go back even further to past life memories. Now, whether it's past lives or memories or dreamscapes, really doesn't matter to me. What matters is they get the healing they deserve. However, we'll talk more about the proof and kind of validation from the what I've experienced in these sessions, just like your session last week.
Mm. So for me, we obviously met over socials, and I'd love to know, obviously, because I hear so many people saying that they kind of have had these sessions and they kind of have these really strange experiences. It definitely was an experience for me, and I was like, wow, where's that come from? Tell us how you came to become on this journey yourself. And what made you
Well,
go down like that kind of holistic journey into like obviously hypnosis and past lives and everything? Because I feel like the story and the journey to get there is so valuable when we're kind of talking about this kind of industry, shall we say, of hypnosis, because we see it all on the TVs, don't we? We see like the hypnotist making people do things that they're not aware that they're doing. And sometimes I was skeptical, thinking, how does that work? Do you think the other person knows what's happening? But you do go into this dream state. I found myself, and you've been talking about hypnosis this week as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm a skeptic too, by the way. So when I was first learning about this, I was wondering the big picture questions in life. What happens after we die? What's our purpose? Why are we here? Is this, the movie The Matrix? What is this, a simulation? What's going on here? And started reading all these books on spiritual growth and development, and I came across Michael Newton and Dolores Cannon. So that was my early days, 10 years ago, reading all those books by them, the past life stories. They're just so fascinating because it's similar to the Bible is written. Every story has a lesson behind it. Just like your session will tell the story, and then we'll get the lesson that you gain from it, and the shifts that occur are pretty profound. The transformations my clients make from each session. So I started to, read the books, and then I'm a skeptic, and I said, well, if they can do that, I can too. This isn't just one person that's doing this. This is, thousands of hypnotists are trained in past life regression, and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people have done it all over the world. So it's not something that's in one spot. It's like an experiment. I can do this session with people from all different walks of life, and everyone can go into their past lives, and they gain tremendous knowledge about who they are on a soul level, birthmarks, fears, and phobias, just like the phobia
Mm.
we experienced with you in your session, are uncovered, and we're able to make transformations and shifts from it.
Yeah, I really kind of uncovered some stuff when we were doing it. I really went down to why I had like a phobia of snakes and what happened to me in a past life. And I was like, where did that come from? And where does that come from? Because obviously, when we talk about the mind, and obviously, you took me through stages to get to that subconscious dream-like world, should we say? Where is it? What is it that the mind does to get to that stage?
Yeah, so in hypnosis, by the way, everybody, hypnosis is just like a guided meditation. You're always awake, aware the whole time. You're never asleep. And stage hypnosis is very different. It's for theatric and entertainment, where therapeutic hypnotherapy and spiritual hypnotherapy is to grow and uncover and make improvements. So the what happens is our brain reaches a frequency called theta. The theta frequency, right now we're probably in beta. When we're watching a television show, we go to alpha, which is actually a light state of hypnosis. So if you viewers are scared of hypnosis, don't watch the news, because you go into alpha while you're watching TV. That's why they call it programming. So make sure you're programming yourself for something that benefits you and you are learning from and you're growing from. So so imagine our mind is like a computer, and right now we're in beta, and when we reach theta frequency, the frequency that we go into in hypnosis, all channelers and mediums are in it. Children between 0 and 8 are in theta as well. That's why children oftentimes can remember some of their past lives. It's rare, but we'll get into that a little bit, I think. And when we're in that frequency, we can receive. So we are safe enough in the 3D to not be in a threat or chased by a tiger or in fight or flight. And we're safe enough to receive from the divine. And we kind of, that computer is connecting to the internet and we're guiding us and we're receiving our past life memories in a way that you can understand it best. My clients get a knowing, feeling, or visions. I believe you were getting some pretty clear visions
Yeah.
in your session.
Yeah, for me, it was very like visualizations that come. I actually did a little bit, didn't we, when we kind of went to when I was a child in one of the past lives. And I had this fear of like this snake, and I could feel the trembling from that. But it was very visual as well for me, I found.
Yeah, yeah. And so you've had that, I call it a forever feeling. So a feeling perhaps we've had forever and we don't know where it comes from. A phobia. If you meet someone for the first time and you just get along with them really well, they feel familiar. That could be a part of your spirit group. You may have had past lives with them. People get deja vu moments or are drawn to certain cultures as well, and they don't know why they're drawn to Egypt or Lemuria, or not, that's not around anymore, but Wild West or Rome, and perhaps you've had past lives there. So those feelings that are forever, they have no explanation, could be from a past life, which we found out was the case with your fear of snakes.
It was. So I kind of had two experiences. So when we first went under, it was like I'd lost a partner at early stage, and I brought this little boy up on my own, and it was bringing fears of like kind of being loved and this kind of survival moment. But it wasn't quite triggering where the phobia of was from this snake that I have. So I have spoke about it a couple of times on the podcast, and I've spoke about like I have these visions of snakes, and I've got a phobia of snakes that I've never had an actual interaction with a snake. And then I was also asking Jonathan, why am I so like sometimes, where does this intuition come from constantly? Like I'll dream about a snake and then things dramatically change. But I know from a like intuitional point of thing, when I dream or see a symbol of a snake, something's going to change in my life. And then we kind of kept going down into like this hypnosis and dreamlike state. And I was a bit like, okay, what's happening here? And then it took me back to a little girl I was like in medieval London, and I just didn't know where these downloads were coming. I was just talking as we were going through it. And in this time, I was a little girl it was like an apothecary, you know, back in the day where they had all like the medicines and stuff. And I was sat as a little girl watching my mum treat people. Now, in today's society, I'd probably say it was more like Reiki or kind of frequency work, shall I say. And I'm sat watching like a fireplace with a fire. These people would be coming in to get healed. And she had snakes in a basket. And she would take one out and she put it around my arm, and the fear come, and I could feel the feeling of the fear. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? But it was so frowned upon that we were kind of hung for it, because it was like what they're doing shouldn't be being done in today's society. That we were then, it took me then into this kind of visualization of being hung. And I was like, well, that's really strange because I don't get where it's coming from. But then what was strange, I actually went to the pictures last night, and the first scene in this movie, Wuthering Heights, was someone being hung.
How weird.
It was so weird, wasn't it? But so where does that come from? Is that the subconscious mind, or?
Yeah. So what ends up happening is those fears or phobias, I notice it's typically with an emotional charge, so a fear or a scared feeling, and it's also like a traumatic event as well, will carry over to the next life. And it's similar to how the subconscious protects us. It's trying to protect you from it happening again. We've experienced if someone was in a car accident, maybe they're frightened of cars for a long, long time or for the rest of their life, because the subconscious associates cars with that accident, and that fight or flight goes off. So they don't,
Yeah.
it's like a firewall to protect us basically. So we can talk to the subconscious. So what we do is we get to the root cause. It's called root cause spiritual healing. And that's, instead of numbing the pain or covering it up, in taking, pharmaceutical wants to just sell you a pill for the rest of your life. Oh, don't worry about it. Here's a pill. You can, pay us. No, we get to the root cause and get rid of that trauma for the rest of your life. We make that change in one or a few sessions with hypnotherapy. So it's coming from your soul's memory of that past life that you experienced as a daughter of a witch, basically. And back then you were a witch. And yeah, walk us through you kind of told us the main points. What other shifts have happened since the session?
I don't know. I think for me, I feel like it shows why I do have this interest in this type of work. Do you know what I mean? Because I never knew where. From a little girl, I always was intrigued by like kind of tarot or knowing your future and stuff like that. I was always in it. But then since then, I was like, okay, is this why I do love to kind of look further and deeper into like magic and everything like that from a past life? And that's where it stemmed from.
I think a lot of people go into that side of things when their life's in turmoil though, don't they? Like I've always delved into mediumship and tarot reads, and I've done loads of them over years, but I've always found myself, when I look back now, that I've gone at a shit time in my life, really, that you want someone to tell you that actually everything's going to be okay and you'll be fine. But I'm also a bit like you, where I'm like, I'll think something and then it happens.
Yeah.
And I think, am I a bit like that? And that's why I'm so intrigued by it all. And then obviously with hypnotherapy, very, very basic this week, I've just put hypnotherapy on YouTube to try and hypnotize myself so that I just think, because my brain does never switch off, would I get hypnotized? So I've tried it this week, and on the third day, I sort of woke up and I thought, have I been asleep? Or because it was at night when I've done it, and I think I've made the mistake of doing it at the wrong time, really. I probably should do it in the day when I'm not tired. But I've done it to sort of, for me own, can I get hypnotised or not? I don't even know what, ain't it mad that we've now got this here? Yeah. And I've been doing that all week.
It's like you're aligned to meet Jonathan to kind of go and actually see what it is you've been called for.
Because hypnotherapy, to me, I knew that obviously Jonathan did past lives and stuff, but I didn't actually know it was hypnotherapy that you did it with until you've told me outside before. So that's dead mad that this has happened, and I've been trying to do it all week. So I'm really looking forward to having a session, because now do you think I can get hypnotised?
Yeah. Do you know what I love though that you mentioned before about deja vu? So here's me again. Obviously, I've done a session and I was overwhelmed. I was like, wow, I've obviously been hypnotized and gone to that level. What part of the brain actually does that come from? Because I'm guessing it's the same part of like deja vu, because I always think, well, that's strange. And it always happens to me, and I always go, I remember that happening, but when did it happen? And I've never been able to explain or understand what it is.
I think that I get deja vu all the time. But to explain what deja vu is it just that you repeatedly see something that you think you've seen?
Yeah.
Or what is it?
Well, then someone said to me, it's one side of the brain connecting to the other that hasn't. But I'm just like, but I don't think that I thought each part and the different stage of the brains work differently. So how would that be the case?
Yeah. So what's
Yeah,
deja vu, Jonathan?
Yeah, what's deja vu, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's typically a sign of something occurring either in the past of this life or in a past life. It could have happened. So it's like something. It's like you double look. You're like, did that just happen to me? It's like the same thing happens twice, and you're like, is is our timeline just repeating something? And so typically, if that does happen, it's a sign. So you'll get more alerted, and you can go. It's a sign from the divine that something is important. So, and I think the universe does bring the right people together at the right time.
Yeah.
And so universe brings me, I'm honored to do this with people from all over the world. I do the online sessions and they work just as good as in person because online you can be in the comfort and safety of your own house, and that helps people relax a lot deeper. And I've had hundreds of people tell me, "Oh, I don't know if I can be hypnotized, Nick." So with me, I can go faster or slower. It's very natural for me, and everyone can do hypnosis. It's a skill. You want to do hypnosis. It's like going into a meditation. You want to be that relaxed so you can get that nice reset. Like meditation, we reset, or we typically do it for healing or being in the moment. With hypnosis, we go into that meditative state but a little bit deeper, and then we instill positive suggestions like affirmations that can actually be absorbed, because when we're in hypnosis, the conscious mind is sleeping, and that's kind of our shield. So if someone tells us we're not good enough, we can say, no, I don't believe you. It doesn't mean anything to me. I don't accept that. While in hypnosis, you're able to absorb fully all the suggestions. That's why kids operate in theta. A lot of kids have childhood trauma from traumas occurring in their life, that they're just absorbing everything, getting programmed to be adolescents and adults. So, yeah, the hypnosis is very powerful for absorbing those suggestions that are easily become your reality.
I'd love to ask her, because obviously now we have got onto the subject of kiddies, because I always remember Cody, that's my son, and he'd be like 6 or 7 and he'd be able to tell me what he did when he was like 1, and I'd be like, how do you remember that? Like your mind, how do you retain so much information? And is that because they stay in that kind of state of theta?
Wow, that's rare. That's really good. That means he was probably felt safe. So
Yeah.
sometimes we block off things if we don't feel safe or supported or grounded or loved. So you probably did a great job
Oh,
with
thank you.
supporting him. Um,
Yeah.
those memories. How old is he now?
So he's 10 now, but he'd be able to tell me, he'd be like, do you remember when I did that and I was age blah, blah? And I'd go, yeah, you did. But like, how do you remember when you were 1 and 2 and doing it? He could physically tell me what had happened, how old he was. It was extraordinary. And it used to fascinate me because I'd watch him and he was just how he could flick through memories that I'd forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those may fade as he ages and gets older, because we're in theta from 0 to age 8, and then we go in and out of it until we're like hit puberty pretty much. And as adults, actually, we go in and out of theta 12 times a day. So if anyone listening, going to sleep on your way to bed, we pass through it. When we wake up, we go into it. And when we're driving, it's a common thing. If we're driving, we go on autopilot, we're thinking about that thought, and we're kind of not paying attention, but we're safe. And when we watch a movie, a lot of times we get emotional. We know we're not in the movie, but it's more fun to believe we are. So we kind of go into that. So Cody's memory, that's wonderful. He has a good recall. That means he was safe and supported, as his chakras are, especially the root and sacral, are supported and healthy. And that they may fade as he gets older, but
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Children can often remember past lives because the night terrors are like recent past lives that there was a traumatic event, because they're in theta frequency, and Jim Tucker out of the University of Virginia has 2 books about children's past lives, and kids, the kids are saying they're 4 years old. They're saying to their parent, "Hey, remember when we were Japanese and I was the dad and you were the child?" And the parents are just baffled, like, what is going on? And then he draws Japanese symbols the next week, and it's just he has this deep-rooted connection to the food and the culture for no explanation. And they've done detective work with these kids, and they can answer all these questions, and they find the family. They say they were
Wow.
part of the family. They can verify those answers are correct. So where is these kids getting these answers? They're so innocent.
I've actually seen a few stories when you look obviously through the internet, and they've been saying that, do you know what I mean? People having past life experiences like that.
Well, I was just going to say that how many times I've drove down motorway and then I'll go, don't remember getting here.
Yeah.
Don't you when you're driving your car?
Yeah.
I do it all the time. And then I'll go,
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
And my brain is obviously...
And then you start to think, how did I not crash? Because I've not been
Yeah.
aware. Now, is that the best state to visualise in then? Because it's your subconscious mind in Theta. So obviously they say you should be doing your visualizations and, you know, and being in that frequency of abundance when you're kind of visualizing. So I suppose when the conscious mind isn't active, you want to be in like Theta, is it Theta? To have that kind of visualization programming into the body and the frequency.
Yeah, it is a really good way to visualize. You can get clear visions and knowings. Actually, all channelers, mediums, and psychics are in Theta when they do their work. And when I do future pacing is what I teach hypnosis, by the way, if anyone wants to learn. I do a certificate program.
Don't tell me that.
And so everyone can do it. And future pacing is like, imagine yourself, your ideal version of yourself 1 year from now or 3 years from now. And a lot of times they can get that clear vision of that timeline that they could be on if they make those consistent changes. And so, yeah, it's a good Theta is a great way to visualize what you want, because you can manifest. We are powerful manifestors,
Yeah.
but we need to give the subconscious a goal. You don't need to know how you're going to be a millionaire. You just know you want to be, or you have that feeling in yourself that you are. Maybe you start a business, and then it'll find a way to get you there.
Yeah, it's true. And that is quite often what happens. The original idea comes and you don't, because we were just talking about this on another podcast, me and Nick, saying we always put the end goal as the feeling. I'm going to feel that feeling when I get to that end goal, but we don't feel the joy in the journey getting there. And quite often it's that journey of the unknown and that alignment of it all piecing together that you think, how have I got here?
Yeah. Enjoy the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey, and every challenge that you go through is helps you get there. So a lot of people who win the lottery lose it all in like 5 years because they didn't earn it. So it's better to earn it and enjoy dancing in the rain. Enjoy the challenges because they shape who you are.
Yeah, no, it's true, isn't it? I think especially when it comes to like trauma and stuff like that, it's another thing. I always say, I wouldn't change much in my life because it made me the person I am, and it keeps me on that positive frequency.
Yeah, I've said it a few times, and I don't really believe that I've got a massive amount of trauma that I remember anyway. Like I had a really good upbringing and things. I only then experienced trauma as I got into like my early 20s. So, and I could have, because you can block trauma out as well, can't you? But for people that are listening, hypnosis isn't just for people who have trauma. It's for anybody, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I do find that a lot of people would sort of, well, I don't really need to be hypnotised if it's about getting rid of traumas because they don't feel like they've got trauma. But a lot of the time people are not only in denial of it, but block it out.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think, like even for me now, sitting saying that, I think, what about if I do hypnotherapy and it brings something up that I never knew?
Yeah.
But then it unblocks something for me. Do you know what I mean? There's always the fear of the unknown anyway, isn't there? And I don't really feel like I had much trauma pre my early 20s, like I say. But then who's to say that nothing wouldn't come up?
Yeah.
So can that happen? So if someone was to come in and be like, yeah, I've only had trauma from whatever age I remember, and then you come out and say, well, what you're feeling, and they're like, oh, actually, I feel like this happened to me. Does that happen?
It does, yeah. It does happen. Sometimes, so I, and we, and hypnosis is really great for stop. I've helped people stop smoking in one session who've been smoking for several years, substance abuse. I've helped people stop biting their nails or fear of, some random phobia. But because the placebo effect is so powerful in hypnosis, we can make improvements. So performance improvements, confidence, whatever it is, it's such like a superpower tool that we should all be using. I do it daily. I have a app coming out called Journeys into the Subconscious, and there'll be daily meditations on there, daily hypnotic meditations, journeys for past life journeys. But the custom sessions are always going to be better for those type of sessions. But and it'll have a cool feature is you can type in fear of planes or fear of something really rare, and it'll come up with a therapy session with my voice and my prompts to help you through that. But a lot of people need to use hypnosis more for trauma because it can help you really release that in a safe and effective way. And when I do these sessions with people with a lot of trauma from this life, I'll try to bring, I used to do this in my early days. I was doing this, and I would just do one session with people with a lot of trauma from this life. And they wouldn't go into their past life. They would go to this life as a child when the trauma happened, because that's priority number one. We got to get rid of that first, clear that. Then we can go back further, because that's most important to the subconscious. The higher self guides us in these sessions, not you or I. The higher self is more wise and brilliant, and it knows what would be best for your highest good. The cool thing is, well, in these sessions, you're safe. So it's like you don't need to go on this journey alone, like walking up a mountain or journeying across the ocean. Things could come up, things could happen, scary things, but also wonderful things. But with a guide with you, a guide can help navigate that world for you and with you. You're doing the work. It's not like I don't heal anyone. I hold space for you to heal yourself. And that's true empowerment, and that's true change work.
Because I came in with a very clear vision of what I wanted out the session. So when we went in, I was just like, right, okay, I need to know where this fear of snakes in, because like we mentioned earlier, kiddies have dreams from a very young age. Mine started at like 3 and 4. And my mum would take me to the doctor, and she was like, she's having these nightmares and we just don't know where they're coming from. And like I say, I'd never encountered a snake. But they were just so present for a long time. And then we moved home from Spain and they just completely stopped. But then what was happening was I'd start to see kind of a snake, say like in my dreams again, or I'd be like kind of looking on the telly, there'd be a snake, or there'd be one, if I was like scrolling through Instagram, I'd be getting snake videos, and I knew subconsciously something's about to change, and I never knew what. So before my mum passed, I was seeing them nonstop. I was dreaming about them nonstop. And then my mum passed, and I was like, okay, subconsciously I was being told something's about to happen. It was super strange. And then, so I came in very direct, wasn't I, saying, this is what I need to get to the root cause of. Whereas you, Nick, you might go in and...
Can I come in and just say, I'm here and I have no idea why? But is that all right? Like, can people just do it with no sort of reasoning?
Yeah. I had absolutely. The subconscious will know where to bring you. It is better if you have a specific goal. Be specific. Like if you want to learn about your past lives, that's kind of too vague. Like, yes, we are going to go to them, but what would you like to do? What would you like to learn? But the higher self can bring you to the most meaningful moments. I had this story. This lady from California, she came to me with a goal to help her voice. Her voice was, she was a performer and she would sing and perform, but she was always hesitant to go on stage for some reason. And before the session, she didn't even tell me this wild phobia she had. And I'll tell you it right now because it'll make the story make more sense. But this phobia was her fear of elevators or closed spaces that are small. She also brought food and snacks in case she got stuck. Kind of a wild phobia. Every time she would go on the elevator, she would text her mom. She would try to take the stairs, but if she couldn't, she would text her mom and her friends like, "Hey, in case I get stuck, this is where I am." And she didn't even tell me that prior to the session. She did, however, tell me she hates Egypt for some reason. Never been there. So in the past life session, she went to a journey into Egypt, where she was a beautiful priestess. She would sing using her voice, so that pattern or cycle will carry over. The performer, singer, with rituals and spiritual things. And she was with all these priestesses, and they would have ceremonies and whatnot. And then one day I said, go to an important day or a significant moment. And she went to a day where the Pharaoh and her were arguing. And the Pharaoh didn't like that. So back then, he just banished her to the dungeon. And so she was punished for using her voice, and punished to the dungeon, where she was put into a small little room, a cellar. It was cold and musty. In the session, she was actually shivering. And she was put into this small 6x6 room, dark, locked the door, put the stone over the wall, all stone around her. She couldn't escape. She died of starvation in that lifetime.
Wow.
So it answered all of her questions, why she's afraid of the elevator, the starving in the elevator. And we did something that I do now, which I didn't used to do, is we clear that emotion too. So that throat blockage, where she was hesitant, we were able to release that emotion that's trapped there. So she has, her voice sounds, she's actually on my YouTube, as Journeys into Past Lives on my YouTube. I did a testimonial video with her, and her voice sounds different, more confident. And I hope that's some of your as well, Claire. You in the session, you mentioned you felt being judged by the public because you were doing holistic healing, but it was called witchcraft back then, and you were being judged. And I hope some of the shifts from the session. Oh yeah, and your voice. We did a clearing on your throat too. So I hope you can speak more freely and openly, and have more freedom from
to be fair, I have actually noticed a bit like that. I'm actually sat here now thinking, okay, maybe I was a witch and hunger. Now that story. But it's funny, isn't it? Because I didn't think for 1 minute that's what I would have visualized. And then to kind of go into the cinema yesterday and that be the first scene. And I was like, that's super strange that that's what I visualized.
I don't know what's got to come up for me. I'm telling you, I can't wait.
It's fascinating. And do you know what? Some people might be like, okay, I need more proof. But that to me, I just thought there's got to be something there, that the fact that them visions I was getting come from nowhere.
But the proof is when you do it, you feel and see it. You can tell me, but I can't feel and see what you felt and saw. Like the same, I could ring you next week and say, I've done a session and I was this, that and other. But you could laugh and be like, if I told my friends this, they would laugh. Do you know what I mean? But until you've been in it, that is the evidence, isn't it?
But what I love is that Jonathan's told me that story about your client, and how even, because I was thinking, oh my God, have I been a bit far-fetched there? Have I kind of elaborated on what I've felt? But then you think you're going back to a past life. I'm expecting that I was just going to go back to the 60s or something. Do you know what I mean? But I went back to like medieval times. I was in like medieval London, and I could smell and sense. And do you know, all I can describe, it was like being like, you know, like in like Oliver.
Oh yeah.
I could picture what I was wearing and what I was hung in. Like I had this like white bonnet on with the little white, you know, like apron button top with the black long dress. And I was just like, wow, where are these visions coming from?
I always say, as a comment, I really wish I lived in olden days. I always say that. Maybe that's something that when I do this, it might take me back to something like that. And maybe that's why I say it.
Because they always say a soul only comes back to earth when it's ready, correct? So could I have had multiple lives, or could this have been my first life back from then? And that's why the phobia is so strong.
Oh, yeah. So the most recent past life will be the most relevant, in that emotion will carry over more than your 100. We most likely have hundreds of past lives, if not thousands. It takes us a long time to learn here on Earth School. We wake up with amnesia, and we have to navigate our spiritual journey, and it's all for our, our highest good. And so the most recent one is why the kids. So, and you didn't even tell me actually you had nightmares prior to the session, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, I forgot
So,
to even tell you that. So that's where this phobia stemmed from. I was only like 3 or 4, and what had happened was
wow.
my family had bars over on the Costa del Sol. So my mum split up with my dad and took me over from the age of 2. And she says, Claire, that's when they started. And then obviously she met my brother's dad, my brother come along, and they continued until we moved back to the UK. And then they stopped for a while. And then whenever big changes start to happen in my life, I'll know they're coming subconsciously because I'll start to dream about them again. It's so strange.
Yeah, and so in Claire's sessions, she went to 2 past lives. Usually we go to 2 or 3 in these sessions, and her first one, she was in the Philippines or somewhere by the ocean
Yeah,
island, right? It was very jungle-like, and so you dropped into that scene. And you know, my first session, I thought I was making it up until I did another session and I saw the same images coming through. So it is like a dream where we're navigating these scenes. However, I always tell people just go with your intuition, just go with it. It'll all make sense as we continue, which did. So we
yeah,
got deep rooted connections that are feelings, and now know where they come from. And so in the first one, you were a woman, native woman, and
yeah.
the most relevant thing was you had that wonderful son
Mm-hmm.
in that session that you took care of. You did mostly work around the house, and your whole really a big lesson there was family, and I believe the husband either died or wasn't there throughout the whole journey,
Yeah.
and the son, your important day was he graduated from
Medical school again.
university.
Yeah.
He was a doctor,
That
yeah. So
was
you're
it.
so proud of him.
It was funny because then we connected the dots, and it was like maybe all the lives was connected because throughout it all, that one was again, I was the mother, but my son went into medical care. And then we then went back even further. And then it was that I was the daughter and my mum was in holistic herbal apothecary care and doing all this witchcraft. And I was like, it's super strange. Then I've come into this life and then I've gone into like nursing and compassionate care and like all this kind of soul stuff that they all join together
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
when you think about it.
The patterns and cycles carry over, so that the essence of who you are and on a soul level your body will change. You'll look different. We've all been male and female, rich and poor, dark skin, light skin, all different cultures, but the essence and energy of you is so unique in your voice and your fingerprint. And so we're all just puzzle pieces in this giant puzzle. So really being your true authentic self is what I help people with a lot, and finding that love for yourself as well. And so no judging, and whatever you've been in past lives doesn't determine who you are now. But those I've had performers be performers, holistic. A lot of psychics have been medicine women and shaman in past lives, and your session might have frightened a few people, but you took it so well because right when we went to the second past life, you said, "Oh my gosh, they're burning me."
Yeah. I
Remember?
got hung and burnt alive, and it was the first thing that come. I was like, I'm on fire, they're burning me, and I could see the scene of them all watching while they burnt us. It was like,
Yeah.
it was crazy. I was just like, whoa, what's going on? And then he went, okay, let's go back to why you're being burnt and hung. And then it like kind of went
Hmm.
back even further to obviously the scenes of this holistic herbal care that we were given and frowned upon.
Yeah, and and I do a lot of safety in these sessions, so you're not experiencing the pain or anything. You're just an observer. So
Mm.
we're observing this we're separate from it, but we're just viewing it from this perspective to learn from. And so if anyone watching or listening, you could go into we do go through the death scene, but it's never anything we can't handle. It's an observer from learning about it. So we went back, and you said, "Oh, the mob's at my house. They're taking me from my house." I said, "Okay, go back further." And then I think you said, "Oh, I'm helping people with herbs." I said, "Okay, who taught you that?" And then you went back to a scene with your mom, when you were 5 or something, teaching you it. And they were keeping the snakes by the fire
because she was taking the venom out. Yeah.
And funny enough, in pharmaceuticals, they use snake venom to help people now, and it's not considered witchcraft, but you were using it back then, and the venom helped people heal. And so, but when you were a really little girl, you were, got that frightened of that snake that one time. And, but now it's a symbol or a sign in your life that something's important because you've had dreams, you've had signs of it, and that's something to notice.
And it's quite, I don't think I actually said this, and it's quite ironic that I have a skincare brand, and one of the ingredients in the eye masks is actual snake venom, synthetic snake venom. And it's all subconsciously.
No way.
I swear to God, I'm going to have to send it. Yeah. And it was only when I come out of the session, I thought, that's so strange, because the campaign had a snake in it in Bali. And I was like, but that's just, I didn't ever set out to do that. And subconsciously, it must have just been, like you say, it over unravels through your lives. I'm excited to see what happens to you.
That is so wild. Thank you for sharing that,
Claire. I know.
Oh, so you were, that pattern just keeps coming. Over.
I just hope I'm not burnt alive for this one in today's society.
I'm not coming if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, a lot of spiritual people have that throat chakra block, so we do clear that, and so you should feel more freedom with your voice. But anyone out there listening, you know, back then we were punished for that for some reason. It's horrible, but now we're safe. So the world wants to hear more from you. Let your voice shine. Don't hesitate. Do your creative outlets, and don't let anything get in your way from being your true self.
Can I ask a question? Because sometimes when you meditate, obviously you can go in, like you say, you go in this dream, and you're doing it on yourself. You can sometimes get these rush of emotions or these, like you say, visual downloads, and you're like, oh, that's weird. Why did that come up? And is that because we're kind of putting ourselves in that state for them visuals to come? So like hypnotized ourselves unknowingly?
Yeah. So yeah, if we feel an emotion, we don't know where it comes from. So sometimes I guide people to, sometimes someone will be in a session and then they'll start crying. And I said, okay, where's that emotion coming from? It'll come from a spot in your body. So identify that, and then ask yourself, where is the root cause of that emotion? And in a session, I can guide you there, but sometimes people can do it by themselves when they're meditating. And we go through time and space. It could come from this life, a scene when we were little, could come from a past life, whatever it is. Michael Newton, actually, the first time he discovered past life regression, this guy kept coming to him with abdomen pain. And he didn't know why. He tried everything, went to all these doctors. And Michael Newton's very clinical. He's very, just very skeptical. And he did a few sessions with him. No, he was getting nowhere, so he got fed up. He said, bring me to the root cause of your pain. And he went to the Civil War, where he was a soldier and he was stabbed in the abdomen with a bayonet. And that's the root cause of that pain. And after the session, they did some clearing and the pain went away.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Andrew's done this. So my partner does MMA, as a career. And when he's in fight camps, he's always goes to hypnotherapy sessions to obviously visualize how he wants the fight to go and how he sees. So for example, he'd be like, I'd say, I'm not coming. And he's like, well, he likes to know who's going to be there because that is part of his hypnosis session, that he visualises he's winning. He visualises himself on top of the cage, but then he'll visualise, he always says he'll visualise like my best mate Greg and you at front. And he used to go every week and have that done. He's not been for a while because he's not fought, and obviously back into it this year. But when he used to go, because I used to say, does it really work? Like, do you really feel? And I think everyone's very skeptical of it until you do it. Because Andrew, when he won the belt, however it won it, I can't remember what you call the move or whatever, but that is exactly how he'd done his hypnotherapy for every session, that he was going to win that way.
Wow.
And then won with whatever it was.
See, that's incredible. So is that what you meant when you said you do, was it you said earlier you do future preparation therapy sessions?
You would imagine yourself, your ideal situation. In fact, whenever I drive somewhere, if I want a parking spot, I'll imagine myself being that first parking spot, you know? So
I do that though in general, Joe.
if you're going to an interview, like you want to get hired, or a first date, perhaps you would imagine what it would be like for it to go ideally for you, and perhaps you could manifest that. And funny enough, Mike Tyson used hypnotherapy, the famous boxer in the US. He used hypnotherapy to gain a lot of his success came from that, because we can be, I won my first disc golf. Disc golf is like frisbee golf, and golf is tough because you get frustrated and mess up your shot or whatever. And I would always have trouble putting. The putting is a short throws to the hole, the target, the basket. And I did a hypnotherapy session and I won my disc golf tournament. I didn't get nervous. I was just putting. I was just being myself in my element. And so, yeah, it can be used for performance, relationships, substances, just you name it. With the mind, it's so powerful.
Do you know what? To be fair, when you do look at certain celebrities and they open up, I think and like you say, Mike Tyson, like you say, obviously,
so many people do it.
To get that goal.
They do. So I've seen, in fact, Tom was telling us, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was,
about one, about the throwing the basketballs. Was that on here? Or have I just...
No, I feel like he did say something about that.
So there was a study done where there was 3 different groups of people, and one was able to actually throw the basketball through the net for 2 weeks. Well, it might not be 2, whatever, as an example. And then the next group was only allowed to visualise throwing the ball. And then the last group wasn't allowed to even think about it. And the difference in percentage from group one who was allowed to throw and the one who did the visualisation was so minute. Even though they'd not thrown it, they'd just visualised throwing it through like hypnotherapy, really. It might have been Stella that told us that.
But then I suppose that's what they do say. When you're doing your visualisation for all this manifestation work, that's what you're pretty much doing, aren't you? But where I suppose hypnosis, again, comes back to that education again, doesn't it? We said earlier, it's educated on the tools to actually get you there now. So you'll probably find now that we'll sit there when we're doing our visualizations and go, okay, because it's like when you do, say, like you say, meditation again, if thoughts are coming, you learn to let the thoughts go. Do you know what I mean? It's just a thought pass and go, and you go into that theta stage. So then your visualizations come. So I think it's knowing and educating yourself. Well, I'm visualizing, but I'm not in that state because thoughts are coming and going, I suppose. So again, it's that education process. It's a tool, isn't it, that you add into your skill set again.
But I got to be a hypnotherapist.
She'll be like, Jonathan, when can you get me in?
I love that. Yeah, and Olympians, they do that, and they hook up a EEG brain scanner, and then same neurons fire when a runner runs his race as they do when he's thinking about running the race. And they did another study where there was a group that did the race, thought about the race, and then did the race under the hypnosis, and the 2 running the race in hypnosis were same neurons firing. The group just thinking about it was a little bit less, but still had some similarities. So if you guys want, we could do like a quick 30-second suggestibility test.
Okay, yeah.
What does that mean?
Nick likes to feel secure and confident, so she's like, oh shit, what happened?
Yeah, we'll do a 30-second visualization, and so I'll kind of show you guys what hypnosis is like. So if you're driving a car or operating machinery, kind of skip this part, but just kind of listen. And so everybody listening, take a deep breath in and allow your eyes to close. Do a body scan for any areas of tension and just release, relax, and let go. Take another slower, deep breath. And I'd like for you all to imagine your kitchen of your house. See the floor, the cabinets, the wallpaper, and the refrigerator. And imagine that you're relaxing and breathing. And you're walking over to that refrigerator and you open the door and it makes the sound that the door makes when it opens, the seal on it breaks or it makes that click sound. And you feel the cold air coming out of the fridge. And you look in the fridge and you find a big yellow lemon. And you grab that lemon, allow yourself to imagine holding it, the size of it, in one hand or both. And you walk over to the counter on the cutting board and you slice that with a knife in half. Then you cut it again into a wedge, maybe a quarter. Smell that lemon, very juicy. And imagine you're putting that lemon up to take a big bite out of it. And you take a big bite out of it. The juices are there, the texture. And now you can open your eyes. Did anyone's mouth salivate a little bit?
I could feel mine go.
So a lot of
Yeah.
people imagine that the lemon and then their mouth salivates. It's like Pavlov's dog, I believe. Yeah, so yeah, great job, everybody.
Oh, thank you.
I will go to say, can we do one?
Literally.
Have we got time to do one?
Well, so yeah, tell us about what you've got coming up then, where our listeners can find you, some of your platforms, and a little bit about like if they need some help, they want to book some sessions. Obviously, Nick's going to come along and we'll be able to talk about it on a different pod. Obviously, Nick's experience, but how, obviously we're going to put this all across our feeds and tag you, but where is some of the places? Because obviously a lot of people will be all over the world watching, and obviously just to know, mine was done online and it worked perfectly. So yeah, just a little bit about where everyone can find you, please, Jonathan.
Yeah, I do these sessions all over, people from all over the world, and my best way to find me is my Instagram, Journeys into Past Lives. So Journeys into Past Lives is my website, journeysintopastlives.com. And I do one-on-one sessions for custom sessions for anything. I specialize in the past life regression because that's what I'm most interested in. So I meet spiritual people from all over the world. I do a free introductory call. So you just want to connect and ask questions, message me or go on my website, book a free introductory call, and we'll go from there on how I can help. Usually I do one session, the past life session, or 3 or more depending on what you need. I also do Reiki and breath work as well, but I kind of just add that in. I want to focus on the hypnosis. I train people now in hypnosis to do what I do. So if you want to learn this skill, if you have other modalities, and I have a person that's a therapist and they've been doing therapy for 20 years. They took my training and they now do hypnosis at the end of their therapy, calling it meditation. And she's been getting miraculous results, way better changes in her clients, because the hypnotherapy accesses that subconscious mind that runs the show. And for people that want, in these sessions, they're custom. Nothing's going to replace those. But some people want to do like daily or weekly sessions, and I have an app, Journeys into the Subconscious, on the app stores, and download that. You get a free week or two and see if you like it. And I do daily hypnosis myself. It's a nice way to get that reset and feel refreshed. And so I wanted to provide that for everyone else out there, because I've listened to the ones on YouTube as well, Nick, and a lot of them aren't up to my standards. They're not up to my standards. They don't allow you to go deep enough. And hypnosis is just like meditation. You just listen to the voice, it guides you to that deep state of relaxation, and you feel so refreshed. And that's what I wanted to give people with the app.
So can I just ask before we go, do you do anything, obviously you're based in America, whereabouts is it you're based? I don't think I've asked.
Oh, I just moved to Austin, Texas. So if anyone listening is from Austin, Texas, let me know.
So where you live then, do you do anything where you do it in like a community, where you do group work, or is it just solely from your home that you work?
Oh, yeah. So I do retreats and festivals, like yoga festivals and spiritual festivals. I do group sessions there with sound. Sometimes I bring a sound bowl healer in to do the sound bowls while I'm doing the meditation or hypnosis. So if you have a retreat or a festival, let me know. I do like going to those. I'm joining. I had a wellness center I was part of in Michigan. I recently moved here and I just joined a wellness center. They do it's EES Austin. It's really amazing. They have a scalar energy room, and the whole room puts you into theta. And so I
Wow.
did a session with the owners, and they said like they had an out of body experience during it. They went so deep, and so these PEMF mats and healing scalar energy rooms are so powerful. There's technology out there. They know how to heal us. We have to be our own doctors nowadays. So I'm not for most of the things with big pharma. I think holistic. For every drug, there's a natural remedy that can help you overcome your challenges.
Amazing.
Thank you. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much. And we can't wait to air this episode because it's so fascinating. And yeah, thank you. And we'll catch up.
Thank you so much. I will be in touch.
But we appreciate your time. And we can't wait to kind of, connect afterwards, put it out there to all our listeners. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate that. I look forward to chatting with you, Nick, about your session. And everyone listening, check out their other episodes. They have plenty of wonderful spiritual people that are exciting and entertaining and enlightening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.